The studio lights burned hotter than usual that morning, and the air inside the View carried that faint hum of anticipation that only comes when producers know they're about to make headlines. The cameras rolled, the audience clapped on cue, and Joy Behar leaned forward in her chair with that mischievous grin that audiences had learned to recognize. But no one in the room could have predicted just how far she was about to go, or how deeply she would regret it. Within minutes, she wasn't just provoking Denzel Washington for ratings. She had detonated a cultural moment that would ripple far beyond daytime television. Before we continue, please hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell for updates. It started under the guise of an innocent panel topic: fathers, legacy, and responsibility in public life. Denzel, ever thoughtful, leaned in to discuss the balance between career and family, sharing bits of wisdom in that slow, deliberate cadence that audiences admired. But Joy cut him off with a flourish, lifting a folded piece of paper and announcing she had something relevant to share. She claimed it was a letter sent anonymously to the show, allegedly penned by Denzel's estranged son. The panel froze. The audience leaned forward, half thrilled and half uneasy. And then she read it. He was never around. He pretended to be perfect for Hollywood, but at home he was distant. I needed a father. I got a performer. The words hung in the air like a slap, and for a moment, no one breathed. All eyes turned to Denzel, who sat motionless, his jaw locked, his hands gripping the armrest of his chair as if anchoring himself. You could see the storm building in his eyes, and when he finally spoke, it wasn't a rehearsed actor's line. It was raw, guttural anger. You crossed a line, Joy. You aired something personal and painful without asking me. For ratings. F*** for that. He ripped off his microphone, slammed it on the table, and looked straight into the lens. This isn't journalism. This is emotional terrorism. Then, with the poise of a man who had nothing left to prove, he stood up and walked off set, leaving stunned silence in his wake. But what happened after was even more explosive. Hours later, as the internet lit up with clips of the walk-off, hashtags trended worldwide. Fans, critics, and casual viewers alike were debating the moment, arguing whether Joy Behar had gone too far or if Denzel had overreacted. Yet before the speculation could spiral out of control, Denzel reappeared, not on a network show, but on his own live stream, flanked by his legal team, publicist, and civil rights attorney Ben Crump. Calm but firm, he revealed what he described as the setup. Emails, forwarded to him anonymously from a sympathetic staffer at ABC, allegedly showed Joy Behar and senior producers conspiring in advance. If we push the fatherhood angle and slide in the son letter, we'll finally break through the news cycle, one read. He won't see it coming. The implication was undeniable. This wasn't a spontaneous moment. It was a trap, engineered to provoke an outburst from Denzel during sweeps week. And suddenly, the narrative flipped. What had seemed like a dramatic exchange on live television now looked like something darker: manipulation, exploitation, and a calculated gamble at the expense of one man's dignity. The backlash was immediate and fierce. Dozens of black celebrities, civil rights advocates, and media figures rallied around Denzel, condemning ABC for what they called the weaponization of black pain. Hashtags calling for boycotts began trending. Think pieces flooded the internet, questioning not just the ethics of The View, but the broader culture of daytime talk shows that thrived on ambushes and humiliation. Within 48 hours, the fallout was undeniable. Joy Behar was suspended. The View halted live tapings indefinitely, a stunning move for a daytime institution. ABC launched an internal investigation, scrambling to contain the PR firestorm. But Denzel wasn't done. He announced the formation of a new independent media watchdog initiative, dedicated to holding networks accountable for manipulative practices, especially when they exploit vulnerable communities for profit. His words carried the weight of someone who had seen behind the curtain and decided it was time to tear it down. And then came the twist no one saw coming. A week later, Denzel went live again. But this time he wasn't alone. His estranged son appeared beside him, nervous but determined. "I never sent that letter," he said, his voice cracking. "I was used, and I want to make it right." The revelation stunned everyone watching. The supposed smoking gun Joy had wielded on air turned out to be fabricated, or at least manipulated, by producers looking for drama. Father and son embraced live on stream, and the audience watching from around the world erupted in comments of support and relief. What had begun as an ambush meant to tarnish Denzel's reputation had transformed into something greater: a reconciliation, a stand against exploitation, and a moment of truth that no network could script. The entire ordeal left people asking bigger questions. How often does television cross the line between information and manipulation? When do ratings stop being entertainment and start becoming exploitation? And more importantly, how do we as viewers contribute to that culture when we click, share, and gossip about the very moments designed to shock us? Denzel's storming off wasn't just a celebrity tantrum. It was a mirror, reflecting the uncomfortable reality of what modern media often demands: raw pain packaged as primetime drama. Maybe that's why his words, "This isn't journalism, this is emotional terrorism," struck such a nerve, because deep down we all know he wasn't just talking about himself. The story of Denzel and Joy Behar's fiery clash is more than a scandal. It's a wake-up call. It's about the power of boundaries, the dignity of privacy, and the courage to walk away from systems that thrive on exploitation. It's about a father and son finding their way back to each other in the unlikeliest of circumstances. And it's about a man who refused to let his pain be someone else's profit. So the next time we tune in, scroll past, or click play on some viral moment that feels just a little too cruel to be true, maybe we'll ask ourselves, are we witnessing truth, or just another setup? Maybe we'll decide to demand better. Maybe we'll choose to walk away from the circus just like Denzel did. Now it's your turn. What do you think? Was Denzel right to storm off, or should he have stayed and fought back on camera? Do you believe networks should be held accountable when they manipulate personal lives for ratings? And most importantly, as viewers, are we complicit in keeping that machine running every time we give them our attention? Share your thoughts, tell your story, and let's start holding the media to the same standard Denzel demanded that day. Because if one man walking off set can spark this much change, imagine what happens when all of us decide enough is enough. So where does that leave us? Maybe on the edge of something bigger. Maybe staring at the beginning of investigations, hearings, and revelations that could shift power in ways we haven't yet imagined. Or maybe, just maybe, at the start of a cultural shift where ordinary citizens demand more transparency, less spin, and leaders who fear accountability less than they crave applause. Either way, Denzel's moment on that stage wasn't just another viral clip. It was a spark. The question is, will we let it burn into something meaningful, or will it fizzle out under the weight of distractions? That's where you come in. This story isn't just entertainment. It's a challenge. What will you do with it? Will you shrug and scroll past, or will you lean in, ask harder questions, and demand better from those who hold power? The truth, as Denzel showed us, is only as strong as the people willing to carry it forward. So don't just watch history happen, be part of it. Share your thoughts, speak your truth, and let the world know that the days of silence are over. Because if one man can turn lights, camera, action into evidence, exposure, accountability, then imagine what millions of voices together could do.